Barkamu da warhaka. Darasin na baya mun ga yanda muka implementing sign up feature na wanda visitors na website din mu za su iya signing up, da za su ba da username da password. Do ba mun yi implementing kawai server side din ne, muka yi testing da Postman, ba mu yi implementing client side din ba, wato ta web page din inda mutum zai je actually ya je entering username da password. So ba mu riga mu yi wannan ba. Muka ce a wannan bidiyon za mu go ahead mu implementing login shi ma na server side kawai, dan daga baya za mu ga yanda za mu yi client side din mu haɗa su. So a nan za mu zo mu sa app.macpost. In kun tuna a previous lecture mun yi commenting out wannan, so yanzu za mu buɗe shi, za mu creating login method din nan. So za mu je ƙasa. In fact, let's copy the last one da muka yi, za mu ɗan yi making changes. So very similar information usually za mu needing idan mutum zai login in. In kun tuna, idan mutum zai sign up, username din shi da password din shi zai bada, an gane. So in zai yi login in is the same thing, username da password din shi zai bada. The only thing a login, instead of mu je muna sa shi a cikin database, idan mutum ya zo login ya ba mu username da password din shi, za mu ya to check, mu je cikin database mu je mu duba waye ke da wannan sunan mai username da password da ya yi matching username da password din da shi user ya bada, an gane. Shi za mu duba mu gani. Idan muka nemo muka ga akwai match, sai mu creating abinda muke kira auth token, shine muka ce authentication token, sai mu sashi a cikin, bari dai probably maybe idan muka yi implementing anan za ku gane me nake nufi. So first day name, yes, name the same, I'm using the same variable names, the name, the pwd, username the same thing, duka steps in the same thing ne. So if username the same thing, za mu duba idan username da password duka make sure dukan su an bada, ba wai wani is empty ba. Sai anan, instead of mu je muna kokarin creating new user muna sawa a ciki, what we are going to do is we are going to query shi database din, mu ce ya bamu visitor that matches username da password din da muka bada. And there's a method using there's a link. I think link is for Ibrahim bude rough note din. A C# akwai wannan extension method din called link. Is it language independent something query ne? Language I've forgotten full meaning the link, but bari mu duba, but it's something to do with language independent query, wato zaka iya querying database without even knowing ma wani database ne, an gane. Full meaning of link in C#, sorry, I meant the full meaning. Okay, language integrated query. Anyway, it's somehow integrated in C#, but still it is language agnostic, because the reason I'm saying it is language agnostic is it doesn't care when irin database kake da shi a back end, whether kana using Postgres ne ko kana using yake da suna, ko kana using MariaDB ko kana using MySQL, irrespective of wani database kake using, it doesn't care. It's the same way zaka query database din a C# wannan dinka. So a C# code dinka. So we'll see how to do that. Let me see if I can remember. Probably say na browsing, but let me try. It does something to do with first or default. Okay, so mu ce db context dot visitors, container visitors table din mu, sai mu ce dot first first or default din nan kaman filter ne. A filter in the sense in kun tuna visitors table din, when you call dbcontext.visitors you are like kaman ka dauko gaba ɗaya visitors table din ne, an gane. Wato visitors table din a cikin database din mu, remember it will have so many records. For now of course mun san we only have one record na shi coach da muka yi entering wannan coach Milinge, but when we have several people da suka yi signing up on our web page, we are going to have a lot of records. So let's assume we have 1000 records a cikin visitors table din nan. Idan ka kira visitors dbcontext.visitors zai dauko duka visitors din nan. This imaginary, ba wai zai je dauko duka bane. Ideally it won't actually take them, but entity framework ko shi yake asalin aikin da zai sa ba sai ya dauko duka ba. But imaginary, the way Muzami imagining is as if ya dauko duka visitors table din. Then when you call first or default, zai yi filtering, wato zai ciccire wa'anda basi matching what we are going to give it next bar. In ka kira first or default, you are supposed to give it a kaman filter method da zai yi providing wani query kake so ka yi. And for that I think first or default dot ne ko first or default dot na manta, wait, ina zuwa bari in duba how to use first or default, how to use the first or default query in C# link. I believe zaka yi providing query method din. Bari mu duba yawa, using lambda expression. Okay, list first or default. Okay, yes, a ciki zaka bada okay, I think I understand. So first or default, you can use anything as the variable. I'm going to use x for now. So x, say x goes into, now x din yana representing every single record na cikin first or default table din. Then next, idan ka ce goes into wannan fat arrow din, the next expression da zaka bada shine kaman filter din, an gane, kaman programming na manta abinda ake ce musu predicate ake ce musu a programming actually. So predicate is more like kaman shine asalin method din that actually carries out the filtering action din. Kuma usually zaka ce x din nan, if you remember I said yana matsayin every single record, ko let's say a single record, where x dot zaka ce x dot, yanzu zaka iya using username, an gane. X dot in ka ce x dot, it can have ko username ko auth token. You can even see yana fitowa, it can have username ko password ko auth token, an gane. So x din nan yana representing kaman table din, every single record na table din. So you are saying where x dot mu ce username equals username, an gane. Yanzu what you are doing is you are saying ya fito maka da record na duk wani record a cikin table din where inda username din yayi matching wannan username din. I could have used, but dole sai na using x, I could have used anything here. I could have said record here, and then this place will be record, an gane. Wannan is just a variable name, record, where record dot username equals username. So me, I prefer using x because it's short. I will just use x where x dot username equals username, bamu gama ba, and kar ku manta akwai password and na ampersand din mu yake, and guda biyu za ku sa. x dot password equals password. Remember wannan small password the small p shine wannan da muka extracting daga cikin login information da user ya bada. An gane? Now idan ka yi wannan, this will be the first or default dot sorry, me yasa muke samun okay na riga na sa dot db context dot visitors. Okay, dauko mana first or default. Okay, then we're going to say var record equals wannan. Now zai dauko mana, now record can be any kaman a set of sorry, it can be actually more than one. Tunda mun ce first or default, it's going to be singular. Zai dawo da the first one. An gane? The first one. So in yana searching records din, the first one da ya gani that matches when the username din shi is the same as username, the kuma password din is the same as password din. So it's definitely going to be one, irrespective of whether there can only be one username da ke da wannan sunan. Kun san database din mu mun yi setting such that only username it can only have username with one unique name. You can't have Milingi more than once. An gane? So irrespective, ko da a ce table ɗinka yana bari a sa several records with several usernames, but because we use a first or default, in yazo yana duba the first one that matches condition in da muka bada anan, shi zai dauka ya returning cikin record. An gane? So as at this point, record will have that. Then let me see, wani data type ne record is going to be amanta wani data type. I think it's going to be a menene suke ce mai, can't remember the class. Anyway, we're going to use it. Next thing we need to do is we need to insert a cikin wannan record din. We need to insert okay, first before we insert anything, we need to create an authentication token. So we're going to say string auth token is equal to GUID dot new GUID. Dot new GUID method in there is just going to create a random string. Angani new GUID dot to string. Zai creating a random string. Kuma shi wannan method din, whenever you call it, it's always going to return a unique string. There might be cases where there is some collision, but even in those cases, it's very, very rare. And then secondly, it will not affect what we're going to do because we are only using it as an authentication token. I will explain why we are doing this maybe later, but for now, let's try and finish coding out abin da muke so mi. So we've created the auth token, mun sa shi a cikin wannan string variable the auth token. Next, we're going to try and insert it cikin record, cikin wannan record din. So we're going to say record dot is there anything like update? No. Na manta yanda ake updating record with entity framework call. Wait, bari in ƙara browsing. Let's confirm how to update records. How to update record using EF call. I just want the code using the context. Okay, product equals okay, mun dauko record. Say if okay, you need to confirm cewa record is not null, then you set okay, this is fine, then you save. Okay, I understand. So muka dauko record din, mun dauko record din anan, there is the possibility idan ya duba ba zai samu any username da password da suka matching wannan username da password din ba. An gane? So in that case, record din is going to be null. An gane ba? So because of that, we need to confirm, we need to say if record is not null, which means definitely ya dauko wani record that matches wannan username da password din. So if record is not null, record dot sai mu ce auth token, record dot auth token is equal to sai mu bashi wannan auth token din da muka yi generating. An gane auth token din nan da muka yi generating, so mu say auth token. An gane? Then har yanzu ba mu gama ba, we will also we're also going to save the database. So we're going to say db context dot visitors db context dot, does it have save changes? Okay, we can just say db context dot save changes. Mugani, was that how they implemented it? Did they use, okay, yeah, the same things again. Okay, so this is how you update she record. First day you have to filter, making sure ka dauko exact record din da kake so. Then next you check and make sure there is no it is not null, because idan wannan filter din doesn't match ko mu ce wannan predicate din x.username is equal to username and x.password is equal to password, if that predicate bai nemo record that matches wannan predicate din ba, then it's going to return null, record will be null. So that is why we need to confirm mu ce if record is not null kafin we kokari mi altering record din. So then we say record dot, we now put auth token din a ciki. Then anan in kun tuna, we're supposed to use a try catch block whenever entity framework core is going to carry out any work. Ina tunani, should we start it here or should we start it here? I think to be on the safe side, me wrapping everything tun daga nan into try catch block. So we're going to put try anan. Sorry, musa me enclosing komi anan. I'm just making it better. So try put a try block and then there has to be a catch block. Whenever you open a try block, you have to have a catch block. I'll just use exp as then and now we can just say results return, we'll just say failed saboda an samu database error, return results dot okay failed database error. Okay, then shi kuma anan we need to return something. Okay, successfully logged in user, successfully logged in user, same mu ce ba username din zamu returning ba, we need to return something. In fact, a nan wurin it will have been much better me returning a JSON string, but for now let's just return a normal string. When idan muka zo implementing client side din zamu zo mu gyara shi, so that we'll just see what is happening. So successfully logged in user, mu ce the auth token is, sai mu bada auth token din, ce auth token generated, auth token din da muka yi generating kenan. Why is it in red? Is it outside? Oh, okay, it is outside our definition. Okay, so we need this auth token to outlive using one. So okay, we can just take this everything musashi chicken nan shima. That's a shortcut. This should be fine. Why is it complaining? Okay, yana cikin ina muka creating auth token. Okay, so what we'll do is cut in daga nan, let's create it outside here so that it will still be in view. So na dan modifying code din bana so mu tsaya muna ta gyare-gyare, so kawai na fito da definition na auth token din inda muka generating authentication token din, kawai na sa shi outside try catch block din mu so that we will have access to it even outside try catch block din mu. So that is all. We sa control S, I believe. Let me just go through mu gani. Auth token equals, okay, we generating auth token, muka sa shi, okay, muka nemo record that has wannan username da password din, sai muka sa shi a cikin, muka sa auth token din a cikin record din, and then we return auth token din so that the user can use it, ko idan a client side ne, client side can use it. So I believe this should be fine for the method, and I'll do control S, save, mu zo nan kasa mu yi .net run to test. Hopefully it will run, and then we'll go to Postman, be testing gani ko zai aiki. Okay, so it is running ko. So we'll go to, before we go to Postman, muje database. Obviously kun gani auth token is empty. We can close mukara boot the visitors just to make sure kun gani auth token is empty. So abinda zai, notice what will happen. Intentionally zan sa wrong username the password. So username is coach space milingi, C is capital, M is capital, then password is pass. So let's go to Postman. So http localhost 5222 number sign up bane log in. So log underscore in shine endpoint din, sannan name is coach milingi, say password. Okay, notice what I'll do. Zan sa wrong password a can. Okay, pass ni password din, and nan za mu sa wait, does that mean sanda muka yi wancan ya canza mana? Anyway, we'll come to that. There's something, akwai wani issue da na gani, but we'll come to that. Okay, wajen password za mu sa, let's say P for example. Let's say send. This should not work. An gane bai kamata a ce login in ba. We'll see what will happen. So successfully logged in user, the auth token is this, bai kamata a ce yayi ba ko, which is wrong. And if we check our database, bai kamata a ce, I don't think there's anything in the database. Let's just confirm. So wajen coding din namu ne mun yi wani mistake. Yes, kun gani bai sa ba. So wajen coding din ne ba mu yi, we didn't do it correctly. So notice this is saying it should return results okay dot successfully logged in user, even though anan it could have, okay, otherwise it could have exited anan. Okay. I don't know why yayi hitting nan. It's supposed to, okay, what is it supposed to do? Mun ba the wrong password. Oh yes, that is true. So if record is not null, yayi wannan, ba mu ce else ba. Else it needs to exit. An gane? So if it is not null, yayi wannan, else it should exit. It should go to return results dot okay, sai mu ce wrong username or password, wrong username and or password. So bamga babu username, or we can say a better message is there is no, let's just call it wrong username or password, username or password. So what actually happened is, in ya duba, idan ya duba ya ga babu record that matches, babu record a cikin visitors table in that matches wannan username in the password din, it will just tell you wrong username or password. Bai kamata yi executing semicolon, bai kamata executing one number which is underneath one. So the moment you hitting them, if one is true, then it will do this and it will go down and execute this. Otherwise, if it is false, it will execute. Notice that a chicken method, whenever you encounter a return statement, a method, it exits the method. So any other thing after it bazai implementing bar angani, so one will not get run. So let's do Control S. I'll have to stop this, Control C in stopping zona .net run mukara testing.net run. So muje Postman again, me testing. It's not supposed to log in successfully because remember we are entering a wrong password. So Coach Milingi P say send, you see wrong username or password, which means you are hitting one error. Now notice what happens if we do the same thing, and instead of P, me entering correct password in PASS, which is send. Look at successfully logged in user. The auth token, now notice one happen there returning one auth token. This auth token now a client side, because you have the user has successfully logged in, it will return you this auth token. A client side you will now store one token one authentication token. You now store it a chicken, maybe any variable and a client side, so that whenever you are going to make any request, the one user, you will need to provide username ishi the auth token, and you will no longer need to be providing password. Dalilin amfanin auth token kenan, you don't, once user guy logging in, you just generate a temporary authentication token, wonder for that session user will be using one auth token. And how do you now make sure cewa user is the correct user they logging in? Simple. Notice abubi mukai, we did not just return auth token, we also took one authentication token muka sashi a cikin database let's go to database mu bude, let's close this, mu kara budewa, refresh. Notice what happens a cikin database mu a table Coach Milingi under one record ga password din shi. Look at authentication token din, the same authentication token they returning ni an gane. So now when this occurs is when this happens, idan ka zo zaka yi any other common function da shi wannan user din, you will provide username din the authentication token. You no longer provide password. And one is more like a defensive mechanism. Idan instead of kaita save ajiye password a cikin main memory na computer ko na shi client side workstation din, you don't need to be keeping password. Instead, you just substitute that with an authentication token. So for that particular moment, for that particular session, the she user yake using, you will only be using the username, the authentication token to authorize or to authenticate. I don't know if I'm making sense. To authenticate user, you will no longer be using password. I don't know if this makes sense. Maybe idan muka implementing muka yi aikin da muke so mu yi na allowing only coach to be able to change names of players, zamu ga how amfanin wannan authentication token. For now, this is how you're supposed to implement it, and hopefully next lesson zamu client side din. So mun yi testing the Postman and it's perfectly fine now. So next lesson we're going to do the same sign up the login, and this time a client side, and then we'll test. Let me implement it in a client side and then we test. So this ends here.